Welcome to Talkin' Story with Alumni. I'm going to give people a quick minute to sign in, let people get the notification that we are live. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to give people a couple seconds, a quick minute to sign in to join our live. Welcome to Talkin' Story with Alumni. All right. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I know we're catching everybody before a long weekend, so hopefully you have tomorrow off or you're taking tomorrow off to kind of relax this weekend and enjoy it. Thanks for signing on. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is Talkin' Story with Alumni. My name is Ku'u Ku'uanoe. I'm a 2016 graduate of the ACM program. And this is our little live stream, our Instagram catch-up where we can talk story with former classmates, peers and students of the ACM program at UH West Oahu. I love doing these because I get to meet a lot of people or catch up with people that I used to, sit next to in the classes. But it's also a great time for our students, right? We really want all of our students who are logged in to, chime in, drop in questions, see what our alumni are doing. And, hopefully that inspires you or motivates you or even gives you, some kind of reference for when you're kind of planning ahead your post-graduation plans. So today we actually have Dexter Corpuz. He is a 2022 graduate of the ACM program, and he's currently a high school graphic design teacher. Give me 1 second to add him to our live stream. Let us know what you guys have planned for the long weekend. If you're studying, we want to know that, but also how you're feeling in this last month of school. I know I think you guys are out of spring break now, or through this last month for the summer. I am really looking forward to summer. Oh, hey Dexter.
Hi everyone. Hi Ku.
You logged in so fast.
I know.
Oh no, I'm glad it worked though. I was just, Dexter and I were just talking earlier today to check in, and I said, sometimes it goes through, sometimes it doesn't, but we see. Every time we have to sign in for the live stream, people come on. But I'm glad that you're here with us, and I'm glad that we can talk and catch up. And I also mentioned that this is a great space for me because I'm meeting you the first time. And as much as this is like a great inspirational kind of session for our students to kind of see where our grads go and where they could possibly go, it's also fun for me to learn what other people are doing with their ACM skills in different industries and fields. And I'm also really excited because we did have a teacher come on recently, and that was also a really great talk. So I'm excited to dive in, Dexter.
Sure. Yeah. Thank
Wonderful.
you for having me, everyone. Thank you, Ku, and thank you to UH West Oahu ACM.
Aw. All right, so I always start with the same question because I'm nosy, but but also just because I love to know like what people wanted to be when they were growing up. So when you were a child, what did you think you were going to be?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I guess like ever since I was young though, I did like art, like anything art. So, and we can probably talk about it, but I was like super like competitive in like those art competitions in like
Oh,
elementary school. So like I remember like in second grade I won like there's like a May Day like drawing competition. I remember I won that like in second grade. So I did like drawing, but yeah, I guess I want to be like an artist, I would say. So yeah,
okay. Tell us what you drew in second grade for May Day. What was
it
it?
was like I forget, but I remember it was like it was like so I guess it was the West. I'm from Maui for everyone who's watching. So it was like I just remember there was like a rainbow with like the West Maui Mountains and May Day is Lay Day. And then
Already, you had a vision already.
yeah, and then like basically at May Day, everyone like all the parents and families had like all the songs on one side and had the drawing on one. So I remember in second grade that like, oh, I want to draw.
That's
So
so sweet. I mean, I love that you recounted that story for us, but also that, And maybe, people who have watched before, or even Charla, you can chime in. But I love to know, because I wonder like where that creative spark came from, right? Like
Yeah.
Academy of Creative Media. I love to know. And drawing, I wish I could draw. That's like one of the arts that I wish I was good at,
Yeah.
So I always really admire like artists in that way. So I mean, thank you for bringing us back a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of jump forward a lot.
No problem.
We're gonna skip over your childhood. No, I'm kidding. We're going. I mean, I just like to know where the roots are, right? And
Yeah.
of course, we'll circle back at the end when later on when we get into the ACM program and kind of what it's like being a creative in Hawaii now. But I mean, for you, I know that you said that you're from Maui. You're born and raised. Where are you
Yeah.
from?
Born and raised in Maui, in
Hmm.
Kahului, and lived there all my life, basically. Yeah.
What school did you go to?
I went to Maui High School, so I graduated from their Maui High Arts and Communication program, which is where I teach now. So it's pretty cool to, start from there and then come back 7 years later and become a teacher there. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment. But before we go into teaching, I only asked where you live in Maui because, everybody's thinking about Maui in this
Yeah.
time and the Maui community, and we'll get to that later. But I mean, you transferred from UHMC, right?
Hmm.
Maui College.
Yeah.
I'm wondering for you what that experience was like and why you decided to come over to West Oahu, specifically to the ACM program.
Well, basically out of high school, like just like a lot of Hawaii students, like we're very like it's kind of hard to move out, right? And study design. So for me, like that like the ACM program at UH Maui just opened up right when I graduated high school in 2017. So and then it's like, you know what, I'm gonna try it out. And it was a very small program. Like our design classes was probably like 7 to like 14 people.
Wow.
Very, very small. And then going to UH West Oahu, it was they kind of basically this is like right before COVID too. They announced that they were going to open it for hybrid or online before even COVID even existed. So I chose West Oahu because I wanted to get my BA in like the most like fashionable way and just try to stay home in Hawaii, not trying to move out. And then COVID happened as I was about to graduate UHMC. So kind of gave like everyone like an equal learning field where everyone is online. So yeah, and that's why I went to UH West Oahu.
Wow. And sorry, just to be clear, you were mostly online. You didn't come to Oahu, or did you?
I did all my classes online. Yeah.
Wow.
There is times where I visited the campus during like instruction. Like I was in town and Charlotte invited me to visit the campus. So
Oh,
yeah, and then I was still working at Maui High, so I got to bring like some students with some teachers over there,
oh.
like a month before I graduated at the program, so it was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
get them started early. No.
Yeah, really, that's kind of like my goal. Like I want someone to kind of follow my footsteps. Yeah.
Aw. I wonder, I mean, that's such a huge, and I wonder, you can tell us more about that. But what's it like, going to doing all of these classes online, even before the pandemic? What kind of skills or what kind of challenges did you come up against when you were doing that?
Doing it
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
Ah,
Because this is even before the
yeah,
pandemic, right? When we were all forced to be online.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, you probably experienced all of our, technical challenges even
Yeah.
before, since all
I
of your
think
classes were
I
online.
think it's just like well, I did all my UHMC studies in
Mm.
person, so it was kind of like your traditional learning classroom. But I guess some challenges online were just kind of like when you're in the classroom and you just have like other designers around you or like creatives around you, people can relate. I feel like you kind of feel like everyone being creative, and you hear those little keyboard sounds when you're working. So I guess, just that was kind of like a small disconnect is kind of like feeding off that energy of other creatives. But, Zoom made it pretty fun in general. So, yeah.
Oh, Charlotte said, even online, you can create a community.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah. And like, speaking with online, like what Charlotte said, like, we did a lot of breakout rooms, like in Charlotte's class, in like Scott's class, and I got to really like make some super good connections with some group members I've had. Even to this day, like I keep in touch with a good amount of them just from being in that Zoom, breakout room. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I mean, I like what you were saying earlier about, having that kind of creative energy, especially I'm thinking about like projects that I've worked on. Obviously, I went to college like way before the pandemic. I'm
Yeah.
old. But like and like feeding off of everyone that was there in our like script writing classes or our video classes. So when you had to do those kinds of things, I assume you had to be pretty, self-directed and on your own, like pretty
Yeah.
disciplined about your schedule. Granted, everybody procrastinates. It's okay.
Yeah.
But what is like some of the tools or things that you used that really helped you get through college and finish strong?
Me, I think just like I was working at the school straight out of high school. So like, there was times where like, oh, I really wanted to like just drop out just because like I feel like a lot of people in like our community, like, school is kind of difficult. We want to try to gain some income. But I think like like some things that overcame that was just knowing that like the teachers that, brought me back to work at the school, and then the students as well, and then along with my instructors on Maui, like supporting me to the transferring, and the instructors at UHS. So I was just like knowing that they're invested in like our teaching. And like one thing I've caught on very fast, like just a lot of people like applauding my work. So it's kind of like I know, and and class is probably kind of like I was kind of probably seen as like cocky in a way, but I was
Oh,
just always confident, with my work. So just knowing that I'm good at something, and I can take it, many miles away and just show it off, especially being like one of the only Maui kids in that Zoom classroom, like was really just motivational because when you're surrounded with all these other creatives all over Hawaii, and like you're only one of the few Maui students, right? I really just wanted to like show off my work and represent Maui.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
she said. I No, I really love that, because that's that other side of the creative energy, right? Not only does it help you to be more creative, but it also helps you to see like what's out there and how you can be different,
Yeah.
and stand out and do better. There's healthy competition. That's such a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and I applaud like all my classmates like who pushed me because to be honest, when I was at UH Maui, like yes, it was like super good designers, but it's designers I grew up with in the same programs. I felt like, when I stepped into UH West Oahu, like a hub of all these designers coming from all these community colleges, from Leeward, from, Honolulu CC, from Hawaii CC, it was like, damn, like I really gotta, be on that same level, or even better. So it was very like motivational just seeing other designers, even like the ones younger and older than me, like even just pushed me to try to be like on that same level of like Hawaii,
Yeah, nice. I mean, it gave you that
yeah.
broad kind of like outlook and, really let you like spread out a
Yeah.
little bit and see what's out there. I love that. I love that you were talking too about, being cocky, but really just being
Yeah.
confident in your skills. And I will say that's kind of hard. I know that a lot of our students share that like, they don't really know and they're still learning. So I think it's definitely about building that confidence. I want to ask you, tell us about a project that you are most proud of.
Most proud of, well, there's I guess one that I was most proud of, since Charlotte's here. Um, there's this time challenge where we had to do like a postcard in like 30 minutes, right?
Mm.
And then like we had to, I forget, the postcard was like design a postcard, promoting like something we like, like really believe in about. So like people were doing like, oh, I like, domestic violence,
Hmm.
how to like,
Oh, it was
what
like
was the
a
word?
PSA
PSA type of
maybe, or okay.
postcard. So like I like racked it up in like 30 minutes, and I mocked it up in 30 minutes, and I used like pictures, and I was like, and then when I remember just showing it to the whole class, you can kind of see like little Zoom faces, like everyone is like, whoa, you know. So just all that small stuff. Like one thing I really strive and hone my skills about is just being fast and be able to think on the spot. So I strive in those like challenges. So to show that off, what I can do in like a short amount of time is always those things I like to show off about.
Wow. I mean, I wish we could see. I wonder if Charlotte can let us know or if she remembers what it was like. But I would have probably definitely been one of those Zoom faces, Zoom boxes being like, oh my gosh, this guy did this in 30 minutes. But I like what you're saying about, it like not just being fast, but having the agility,
Yeah,
right? Like, especially in creative industries, you have to be able to pick up on,
yeah,
the design trends, the way that art is kind of moving. So I mean, you're just touching on another skill that I think you learn in a lot of our
yeah.
classes. I wonder for you, what was the most challenging assignment that you had? People are saying capstone in the comments, and I'm wondering if you would also say capstone, or if you had a capstone everyone's
Challenging.
talking about.
I think challenging. Oh, is the first class I had with Charlotte. I forget the name, but it was like we had to. It was like anything video editing because that's like not my forte. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I was always confident in my work. So, like literally, I remember the first assignment I had like in Charlotte's class. Like I literally watched a YouTube video how to use a gimbal, and I borrowed my friend's gimbal just because I wanted to showcase like my skills and just set a good tone. But anything like video editing class, it was probably the most challenging for me. Little bit of like animation because I did learn video editing at West UH Maui College. But yeah, basically like anything where I had to video edit because my forte was graphic design. So just trying to like, just not to like, try to just be and showcase what I know and yeah, you learn more.
See, we're the exact opposite. See,
Yeah,
I liked being in the video classes. I
yeah,
thought those were fun, but that illustrator class that Charlotte taught was so hard for me.
yeah,
But that's what's so great about the program, right? Is that our students can learn all of
yeah,
these different skills and then really hone in on whatever, as you mentioned, whatever their forte is.
yeah,
So I'm glad that you shared that experience because, sometimes it can be a lot, right? And a little overwhelming because you're learning all these things and like
yeah,
which one do I pick? Like what track do I want to
yeah.
use, You got any advice for our students? Who are maybe feeling like one, they don't really know what path they want to do. They kind of want to do all art, but two,
Yeah.
how they can build confidence in, all of the creative media that they do, or even in a specific lane.
I mean, I was just yeah, like I would just say take all the classes because that's literally what I did. Like I tried to take all the classes. I think I've took like everything that you could do except for like video game design. Like I remember my last semester, I was like, oh, I really wanted to do, um, I wanted to really learn Adobe XD and do like all that web design stuff and all that coding. And then towards the end of the semester, I'm like, yeah, never mind. I'll go back to my Illustrator and I'll do brand identities and logos and promotional ads instead. So I would just say, yeah, do everything you want to try, do whatever interests you. Because at the end of the day, like not only you're learning from your instructors, you're gonna learn from all your classmates. Especially like in the Zoom, like we're kind of like forced to talk to each other in that little breakout room. So I learned a lot just being in those breakout rooms.
I'm so
Until you
glad you,
find the right one.
yeah. Exactly. I like that you keep referencing these Zoom breakout rooms because,
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of times, and, some of our students might relate still, depending, where they were at, in their college career. But it was like really
yeah,
hard, to learn online and to, be able to find that community. So I think it's really reassuring that you feel so connected to that still and you still talk to your classmates.
yeah. I think it's weird because like we kind of well like I know Scott's class we were like given like every 3 weeks we'd switch different groups, and there's sometimes like I had Gabby in my class like numerous times, and we were like always excited to work with each other. So it was just good, just meeting students all over Hawaii and just being in that small breakout room. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Gabby if you've
Yes.
if they're on here. Okay, before I transition, because I do want to talk about kind of your role, because you did say that you worked there already, and then now
Yeah.
you're in a new role. I think we'll get to it. But before I do, I just want to plug for people that are watching. If you have questions for Dexter, please drop them in the comments, or you can use the Q&A feature. We really want to get to them, and we're almost about halfway there. So we want to make sure we get to whatever you got. So oh, you know what? Actually, before I go over to career, I want to ask you, and this doesn't only apply to academics, right? It can also be, just that transition from high school into college and that college experience.
Yeah.
What is something you wish people told you about college
Ooh.
before you started
Uh,
college?
um, something I wish. I guess something I wish someone or something would I would know knew was like basically, let's see. I guess yeah, really try to know what you really want to do
Mm.
in a sense. Like and knowing like I when I was going to school, like I didn't know I was gonna like the UH West Oahu online thing wasn't really in my high school plan. I just knew I wanted a graphic design degree or a creative media degree after high school. So I kind of just went with the flow with it. The UH program was new. The online offering for UH West Oahu was new. So for a lot of cases, like for the upcoming students or the high school students, like I was like a different case scenario where I had to kind of just go with the flow and kind of just learn. But I think, really look at the, what you call that? The tracking, like the
Mm-hmm.
program tracking and
Like the
really
course,
see,
yeah.
yeah, the course tracking and really see like, is these classes really what you want to learn?
Mm.
Right? Because there is a lot of scenarios like, I only want to learn graphic design, but then you have, in order to graduate, you may have to do some animation. So sometimes you just have to suck it up, or sometimes maybe
You
that's
can switch it
you're
out.
not,
I don't know.
yeah, switch it out, find another thing that could probably replace it. So I guess yeah,
Mm.
just really looking at your program tracking and see
Mm.
if really in the long run, because one thing that I messed up on, and for everyone else too who's in college, don't do all your project classes all in one semester.
That's a hot tip.
Yeah, and it's gonna like bite you in like finals and midterms, because that's something I wish I didn't do, is because I had so many like these project-based classes, and I always, even to this day, I think of myself, what if I only had that one class? How much more work I could have, or and time and effort I could have put in one project, rather than taking five project-based classes and trying to equal amount of time for every single thing. So yeah.
That is such a good tip for all of our students who are watching, like really trying to avoid the burnout, really being
Yeah.
intentional about your schedule.
Yeah, really like space out. Like for me at least, I guess I would recommend like two, like your general ed studies like history or I don't know, forget what it was, history, and then maybe like a psychology, and then you put like two creative classes rather than putting all CM 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 CM,
Mhm.
because especially like this is gonna be your portfolio at the end of the day. You really want to put an equal amount of time into those projects. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because, oh, look, Charlotte said balance.
Yeah.
Some people shared advice in the comments also about being able to take like your 100 levels and
Yeah.
stuff, early
Early
college
college.
program.
Yeah.
I want to know, since we talked about, what you wish you knew before you got into college, what do you wish you knew before you graduated about quote unquote entering the real world?
Um, it was always said in the back of my ear, but it is hard to find a profession after you graduate. And the whole last year before I took on a full-time teaching position, I applied for numerous jobs, and it was hard. And I did get offered some, but at the same time, it was like, is the pay even worth it, to take this media job? Or do I really want to do this? And then, just basically realizing like, it is a difficult process. But I think one thing that really got me after graduating was knowing what I can do in my skill sets and how I can give it back. So rather, like, I still work with clients. I work with clients with people after I graduated college. I do a lot of photography and graphic design. But one thing now is like I really like giving what I learned in the last 10 years of studying design to the future generation. So that's something what I realized in myself is like, I want to make like these next generation designers, these creative media people, like better than I was in college. So that's like my goal now.
Yeah. Someone said it is super hard after you
It
graduate.
is.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. And I know that it was super hard even for all of our like pandemic graduates
Yeah.
coming out and what the job market was like there. And oh, Charlotte said, yes, please share with our current students. It is no joke out there.
Yeah.
It's hard out here, guys.
Yeah. And like for me, like I thought, I'm like, so we have a graduation, my graduating class, we have a Discord. And then even the people living in Oahu are struggling. I'm like guys, I live in a Maui. Imagine me, So, you would think that there's more opportunities on Oahu, but at the end of the day, it's a difficult process to kind of like get the dream profession, but it's not impossible, I would say.
I mean, I know that you said that you applied for numerous jobs and you had offers. I mean, what were you doing to really put yourself out there? What was what was kind of the lessons learned from applying to all of those places that maybe you want to impart to our students who might not still not know the gravity of what it's like?
Yeah, I think just taking extra side classes even afterwards, like a lot of these jobs now, like especially here on Maui at least, like they want you to take like these social media certifications, like that you can do online. There's so many other stuff that they really want, and a lot like I remember Scott was saying like it's like a lot of these jobs they kind of look for unrealistic things. Like they want you to type, they want you to type, they want you to write, they want you to design, they want you to do photography, video, but in reality like not many creatives are very versatile in that scenario. So I guess a tip is try to be versatile. Yeah, because at the end of the day it's almost unrealistic to have someone do all of that in 100% scenario. But that's something I kind of wish I did after high school is like do like those certifications of like those Google certifications they have for like web or social media marketing. But that's what a lot of the jobs looked for, that I guess was a weakness on my side. But at the end of the day, like my portfolio that I always showcase was always, amazing for them. But they like those small little things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great tip too, right? Like you really have to be like on your way in your career and start
Yeah.
getting qualified and getting that
Yeah.
experience now because you're right, it is kind of realistic. They want you to be like just graduated with like 10 years of experience.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. Yeah, take internships, that's something too that Anna mentioned. So I had a lot of great internships during my capstone, which I think it makes me a lot of qualified in a lot of stuff. Like I did social media stuff for like what you call that, pro businesses and all that. So definitely take internships.
wow. All right. So I want to go into, you said that before you got your full
Mhm.
time, were you still working part time at the school
Yeah,
while you were?
I did substitute teaching.
Oh, okay. And then they asked you to come on full time.
Yeah.
What was that like,
Yeah. So
especially since you went there as a grad?
um
Mm,
challenging. I've been subbing since 2020. So, the students kind of already knew me because I sub a lot over there. But just taking that new role now where, one of my former teachers told me, is like, you're a role model now. So like, you kind of like have to like know your actions and what you do, what you post. So just knowing that all these kids look up to you, especially in a scenario where I looked up to my teachers when I was a student. So really just trying to do the same with how I was inspired in this craft, right? Really, like how I fell in love with design in high school, I want to do the same for them. So just making stuff fun for them, and just like a lot of times, like a lot of these like people in high school, they take graphic design just because it's a cruise or easy class. So really, just trying to find that middle part where like let's create a learning environment where we can have fun and hopefully you gain a passion for it like me, or if not, at least like the class.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that you brought that up because that is kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, if you're in the
Yeah.
video class or whatever, like,
Yeah.
are you really doing any work, you
Hmm.
know? So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you brought that up because that is a stereotype. And Charlotte can tell us too. If people thought, oh, I'm going to do ACM because that's like, you know, you just make videos or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
people think it is, you know? But I wonder for you, tell us about your class. What do you teach specifically?
Yeah.
What grade do you teach? Yeah.
I teach not 10 to 12 graders. I teach graphic technology 1, so it's like a level 2 graphics class. I teach graphics technology 2, which is like a level 3 graphics class, and then I teach graphics entrepreneurship, so it's
Ooh.
like they already we learn like more business stuff, so I incorporate a lot more business stuff, like we make fictitious business plans, but incorporating those are like third year graphic students, so they have like some of the prereqs, so they do like small graphic informational business stuff, more relatively on business. But yeah, some things like in my graphics 1 class we do a lot of more fundamental stuff, and in my graphics 2 class we do a lot more like challenging stuff, like stuff that I learned in college, and really just giving them that insight and really just trying to build their portfolio.
Mm-hmm. I love that you were saying things that you learned in college. What inspired your curriculum? I mean, when you're making this, especially for high school students, right? And then I'm thinking graphic entrepreneurship. That's a whole, you know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean? Because
yeah,
you can go into business for yourself. And I really
yeah.
love when people encourage that for our students and our grads. But I mean, where does that inspiration for the curriculum come from? And what do you want to make sure your students know as they leave your program or as they graduate high school?
One is like learn the fundamentals, but my curriculum is based on having a badass portfolio for these kids. Whether they decide to continue college or to, go freelancing, because there's a lot of, amazing designers in Hawaii who don't go to college and has amazing careers in this field, but really just have them create badass portfolios. So, that's like kind of my goal, and get them the accolades that, that I never had. Like I entered their work into Pele Awards as high school students. I brought them into Oahu in January, and we've won like 5 medals on Oahu my first year
Wow.
teaching. So really just trying to give them those opportunities and again make them better than I was. So really trying to
Mm.
give back.
Well, congrats to your class because that's really awesome. And you know what I'm seeing like a through line in our talk today is really like you came in with such great confidence in your own skills into the ACM program, which was bigger and had more people and had that like kind of reach, you know, but also instilling that confidence in your
Yeah,
students and
yeah,
building their portfolio.
yeah.
Yeah. Charlotte said your capstone paid off. What was your capstone?
So it's crazy because I'm waiting for the day to like see Charlotte in person. I'm like, because my capstone's really relative what I do now, and my capstone was how art competitions benefit high school students, and I did that because like I in high school I entered in art competitions, and long
Since
story
second grade.
short, all
No kidding.
yeah, it's in second grade, literally. But basically, like in high school, like I lost all my graphics competitions, so that's why I'm like I was super competitive in school. Like I don't want to lose ever again. So fast forward to after graduating, I won some Pele awards, and then now as a high school teacher, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna really show off my skills as a teacher now, and really have my students strive. And looking back, what I did in capstone, literally everything that I research about comes full circle because like all the why how art competitions benefit high school students, like I'm living it now, like I'm doing it for these students. And I tell my students about this, guys, I wrote a 18-page paper about this, and then they like laugh about it, but then it really paid off in the end because like 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, I did a whole paper and research about it, and a whole capstone project. And then fast forward 2 years later, like two of my students took gold at Skills USA, and two of my other students took silver and bronze. So winning 5 medals my first year of teaching at like a state competition against other Hawaii high school teachers, like it really just paid off. Like everything that I learned in Charlotte's capstone class, all my research I did, and coming it back to fruition, and seeing like I really enjoyed doing this, and my research at the end of the day paid off these 2 years later.
Wow. I'm glad that you filled us in about that because yes,
Yeah,
that makes total sense now.
yeah,
And I mean, I just want to say, even as you're sharing, your story and what you've done for your students so far, I mean, a lot of people think that like creative media and art is very, like it has other connotations of being very like
yeah.
whimsical and like pretty. But I love that you really approach, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can tell me, I feel like you really approach art as like a sport, as
Oh
like
yeah,
something that you get better at and
yeah,
you achieve.
yeah.
That's amazing. What a mindset. How did you get that mindset, and what advice would you give for people who, kind of aren't as motivated to feel that way?
Yeah, well, so in high school, like, I was a student with disability, so I have spina bifida, so I couldn't really do sports. And when I found graphics, like my freshman year, and I wasn't really good at it till my junior year, but then I realized, okay, I'm pretty good at it, and my teachers in high school putting me in these competitions, placing, kind of like top 20. I'm like, that's where I'm like, okay, I really can get good at this, and I was really competitive about it. And I grew up watching a lot of sports, so like that's where kind of like my confidence always came to play because watching all these like confident like athletes and like okay, I want to kind of like breathe that that mentality like you can strive to be the best at something if you just like truly put the time into it. So I always like believe in like ever since high school I was like the best designer, and like I remember my friends in high school always telling me like you are the best, or so I always believed in myself and in that competitive mindset.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that so much because sometimes it really is as little as that, right?
Yeah.
Just as little and as simple as believing in yourself and what
Yeah.
you can do and your capabilities. I think that's awesome. What's a project that you have for your students, not just for the rest of this year, but just in general, that you're really excited about?
One thing we did in the beginning of the year was super cool. So we did, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a Nike Dunk. It's really like an old school
We
shoe that comes
know
at
what dunks are, right?
Nike Dunks. So one assignment that we did is they had to choose a fast food restaurant, and there's like Nike Dunks are known for collaborating. So they had to choose a fast food restaurant of their own choice and incorporate and research the brand aspects into a shoe and create a social media ad for that shoe. So that was like one of our first assignments we did in the quarter, and like the students loved it. So like basically I tell all the like the admin that visits my class, I told them, I took three things that students love. Like they love fast food, they love fashion, and they love social media. And I put it all into an assignment. So it was just cool to see what they created.
That sounds like such a cool assignment.
Yeah.
I hope that Charlotte is writing this down. No, I'm kidding. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
as you're explaining, I'm like, oh, I would love to do that. And I would love to see like what they came up
Yeah.
with just because, I mean, it really, really, like you said, taps into the things that they're into,
Yeah.
and that's kind of it also as a teacher, right? Knowing the things that interest them and making learning fun, you know?
Yeah. I really just want to like have these like again like how these students have some badass work.
Hmm.
So even I'm jealous. I'm like, where is these assignments? But a lot of it, to be honest, like I got a lot of my at the end of the day, like I incorporate a lot of these time challenges too in my classes. And like I got that from Charlotte's class. Like Charlotte did time challenges in her design and public spaces classes. So like I take a lot of the stuff that I learned in college and really incorporate it. Like researching a brand, like I learned that in Scott's class. We did that in Scott's class. So all those small steps like that I learned in college at Maui at UHMC, I put it into my high school classroom and really try to make it in a fun environment.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Charla? You are inspiring future teachers that are out there in the world now. She said, taking notes. I'm so glad because even just talking to you, you have such great energy about, creative media, about design, about, empowering your students. Got any advice for our students who might want to become teachers or teachers who are out there now who are really feeling, I don't know about you, I think you guys just got out of spring break
Yeah.
also, but what, any advice for our teachers who are looking for some motivation to kind of empower their students?
Um, I just want to say, like, at the end of the day, it's such an amazing profession to really take something that you love to do and really give it back to like 200 students. I average 150 to 200 students. So it's crazy what you can teach in a 7 hour day of like 4 periods, and what they can learn from you in an hour. So just to see like you can give them these tools and have them, especially in graphic class, have them turn it around, or like, whoa, how did they even think of that? I've been doing this for 10 years, and how did you think of that? So just those small aspects. So it's just amazing to see, like, for the advice who wants to be the teachers, really teach what you want to do. Like if you like video editing, maybe look at your local high school if they need another video editing teacher. If you like animation or graphics, I think it's a really fun profession, and such a great like community, and just seeing other people take what they learn from you is amazing to see.
I mean, I'm going to circle back to something that we touched on at the top, but what does it mean to you to be able to have, gotten to stay home as you did through your college and now through your early career, and really give back to your community?
Yeah, staying home, first things first, I saved a lot of money.
Write
you
that
know,
down, everyone. Yeah.
yes, I think that's one thing I tell my high school students too, is like, you can learn graphics and or creative media and live in Hawaii. Like, I think when I was in high school, that wasn't something, at least in Maui, that wasn't in high school like we could do. It wasn't even something we could think about. Like, now it's amazing to see for myself. Like, my high school students wants to go West Oahu. I'm like, just because of me and another graduate, Yasha. Just it's amazing to just see that. So staying home, it has its benefits of being in a community, and especially now where Zoom is very like normalized, and emailing teachers, it really just makes such a great like environment of just learning. I got to meet students all over Hawaii just in the Zoom process, and amazing instructors. Like, I tell my students now, like, I literally learn from like the best, like, in the industry in Hawaii, staying home, and I saved a lot of money doing so. So I never felt one bit like I had a disadvantage in learning, because we were all in the same learning field. But I was kind of mad. Like, I'll be honest, I was mad. Like, damn,
Mm,
I wish we weren't in. I was already gonna do the program online before even COVID hit, but it would have been cool to have some classes in person with
yeah.
like Charlotte and all that. So, but at the end of the day, like, it's super beneficial. Staying home, you get to really just learn and enjoy the environment and
Yeah.
all that.
Charlotte said that this is so good to hear, and I totally agree with her because I feel like, especially when you're coming out of high school, and even some of our students now, they feel like, oh, I have to do, oh, I have to go and do this, or I have to make sure that I go away because that's only the only way that I'll be able to like really put myself out there. And that's not true for
Yeah,
everyone. Everyone has different paths, and everyone can be super successful in their own path. It's really just like being intentional about what you want to do, and kind of having that vision, and like you said earlier, really believing in
yeah,
yourself. Charlotte said our state leaders need to hear this. Okay.
yeah.
I think that Dexter should get a TED talk, but okay.
I owe it all to, like, a lot of it is me like enjoying staying home, but I owe it a lot to the instructors in the the UH community. Like, I had such amazing instructors at UHMC. I've taken classes all over the UH system, and never one bit I felt I had a disadvantage of learning, because I'm learning literally from the best of Hawaii, like, literally. And that's what I think a lot of these, people in high school, like, they think they have to go somewhere to learn, to be good at it. But at the end of the day, especially in creative media, I think, we offer a lot of great opportunities here, and a lot of great instructors, and just networking opportunities here.
Yeah, for sure. I want to ask, do you freelance still
I do
on the side?
freelance. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Any projects you're working on that you're really excited about on that side?
Right now, what am I doing right now? Oh, I am doing a. So actually, Scott Karamura, he got me connected with this golf company on Oahu. So I'm doing a golf, like, Mythic Golf on Oahu. So
Oh,
I'm
okay,
doing
cool.
something with them. Just been in talk with them the last couple of days while I was in spring break. So that's
Mhm.
something I'm working on. Pretty cool. Got to. It's even just cool like that. Like, for the people listening, like, it's cool to see like 2 years later, my teachers are coming to me giving me opportunities. So just small stuff like that where I get to do freelance stuff. And then recently, I did a brand for one of my second grade friends. She has a hair salon studio in Wailuku, so in Maui. So I did like a whole brand identity for her. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I love the things that we're sharing, building your portfolio, a badass portfolio, as you say, and also building your network.
Yeah.
You got to network with your classmates, your second grade classmate even, and then, your teachers, really making sure you tap into those. And I just think what you said about like our teachers and how like great they are at empowering students, like you really don't have to go far to find inspiration, right? So
Really,
I'm
yeah.
really glad that you shared that. Last plug for anybody. If you have any questions for Dexter, please drop them. I only have like 2 more.
Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, make sure you put it in because, I mean, it's been so great talking to you, Dexter, so far. And you've been
Yeah.
even for me, just really inspirational in the way that you're sharing your story and, motivating our students, but also just me talking. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? What's Dexter going to be doing then?
Um, I think I love teaching, and part of me is like right now I'm actually working to get my teaching certification at Leeward, so I graduate this December with my teaching certification. But in the next 5, like probably continue teaching, but I definitely kind of want to branch out a little bit again, and basically like try to get more awards under my professional name still, like and just put out more stuff under my professional name. So I definitely try seeing myself doing a second hit and trying to work in the industry somehow, some way, but still like gaining accolades and giving back to the future of like the students and all that of Hawaii.
I love that. It really is so many things that we have to balance, right? But even balancing, being a freelancer and also being a teacher, I mean, and building those skills on both sides, it's only better for you.
Yeah.
Charlotte said, teach a graphics class alongside Scott.
You let me know, Charla.
I want to
I
see
love
these
teaching.
dunks.
I wish I had some, but yeah, some if you guys ever come to Hawaii or Maui, definitely come by my classroom and you can definitely see some fun stuff. We entered some in Pele Awards. Maybe they'll win and you can see it online.
Online, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so
So,
exciting for you
yeah,
guys. No, I like that you shared that you kind of want to be able to do some things for yourself too, and you're
yeah,
under like your contracting and those kinds of things too, because that shows that you can really build your skills wherever,
yeah,
in an agency, for a particular business,
yeah,
freelancing like you do, teaching like you do. I mean, I also know that teaching is great practice, right? It
yeah,
helps you stay up to date on all the things that are happening
yeah,
now, the trends and the apps,
yeah,
because Premiere Pro updates itself like every day. No, I'm kidding.
yeah.
I wonder, and this is my last question. So again, if anyone has anything, drop it now. What's inspiring you right now? I love knowing like who people follow,
Yeah.
what artists people follow, what influencers people follow who like really help them and inspire them to do great work.
So I'll be like straight up. Like I talked about how like athletes inspired me. Like so I watch a lot of like MMA. Like, Conor McGregor. I don't know if you guys know Conor McGregor. Super cocky Irish
I
MMA
don't know
fighter.
if we know who that is. No, I'm kidding.
But basically he inspires me because like he says it himself, like he wanna like there's a whole stigma with him saying like, oh, you have to move out of Ireland to become a world champion in MMA. Like I had that same mindset where like he didn't have to do that, he got a world championship in Ireland. And like for me, I was like, I didn't need to be a award-winning designer to and move out of Hawaii. So just being in that, Conor McGregor at the end of the day, like he inspires me because he had like this brash, cocky, attitude, but he always like believed in himself. And I like that mindset where like just believing in yourself and knowing that, although there's obstacles, you can overcome those obstacles no matter what. So yeah.
Charlotte, did you know that we were going to talk about MMA on these talking stories? No, I'm kidding. Because I mean, I love that example, and that kind of actually perfectly works with what I was saying earlier and the sense that I got from you and the way that you approach your work. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you tied that in. And isn't he going to be like in Roadhouse or something? So my guy's
Yeah,
branching
he's in
out.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is branching out,
Yeah.
just like
So,
you. No.
that's something too. Like, he's such a great, although he gets a lot of like, bad reps on the media, but I think at the end of the day, with the stuff that he does, and it's motivational for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. No, I love when people share what's inspiring them because, like at the top, when I ask people what they want to be when they grow up, like it
Yeah.
really comes full circle, right? And a lot of things end up, coming to fruition because of, the skills, the talents, your abilities, and also just look, Charlotte, how did you know I was going to say that? Staying true to yourself.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, Dexter, I'm so glad that we got to talk. I'm so glad
Thank
we
you
got
so
to
much.
meet. I learned so much from you, and I really hope a lot of our students did too. I'm just going to plug here that we are going to have our last Talking Story on April 17th at 7 p.m. Charlotte, tell me if I'm wrong. So make sure you stay tuned. If you're not following the ACM account, make sure you're getting those newsletters so that you can see who our guest is going to be for the last one. You guys also have a guest speaker, Eric Baza. He's a voice actor coming to you guys next week, Thursday. So don't forget to check that out. If there's anything else, Charlotte, you can drop it in the comments now and let us know. But Dexter, I'm so glad that you
Thank
got to talk with
you
us.
so much,
I'm
everybody.
going to be looking for those dunks. Is it posted on your design account? Because then I'll check there. No,
It's not. It's
because
not.
those are your
But
designs, obviously.
yeah, but
But
hopefully they win some Pele Awards, and you'll see a couple of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to your class, and thank you so much again for signing on with us.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, UH West Oahu ACM, and all my classmates that are here and been with me. If you guys are watching this, thank you guys.
Oh, that was nice. All right. Have a good
Bye,
night. See ya.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.